Hello, everyone. First of all, how are you doing this evening? It is Wednesday. It is March the 6th, 2024. It's about 7 o'clock on the East Coast. And guess what? You've joined us tonight for the Power of Transformation broadcast. We're on the ALH Broadcasting Network, and we have another wonderful show for you tonight. My name is Dr. Paula Obie, and I am your host. And we just have another wonderful guest tonight. We had a great February, but we're gonna kick off March in a really big way because we have someone who really has a light that shines bright. But I'm not gonna get ahead of myself. We're gonna bring her on in a minute. You know what I do? I want you to tag your friends. I want you to text them. And I always say if you have time to call them, but you don't have to call them if you're going to miss anything, because we're definitely going to give them information as to how to reconnect with us. But honey, I'm going to take my phone. I'm going to tag a few people. I'm going to text them, and we're going to be right back. Take care. See you soon. Yeah, it's good to see you back. I love to remind you to tag your friends and text your friends because that's always really, really good. We want as many viewers to join us as they can. We want them to grab their coffee, grab their beverage, and sit back and relax because they're going to learn something tonight, something that's going to be inspirational and definitely empowering. So let's talk about my special guest. Mhm. I met her a couple of years ago, and what she does not know, well, she may know it, but I don't know if I've said it. She has this great light around her. So even when she's quiet, she's speaking volumes. So, of course, we navigated to each other and just had some really good conversations. A very talented, amazing, and anointed woman of God. And I love what she says. Let's see what she says on her flyer. She says, I empower women. Her name is Jacqueline Bartley. I call her Jackie. I love this is just perfect, y'all. I love the fact that she's here because we're kicking off the National Women's Month. She is the perfect person with a tagline of I empower women to come in and talk to us. So I'm going to be quiet and we're going to ask Jackie to come on in and we're just going to have a chat. So go grab your beverage as Miss Bartley comes in.
Hello, my friend.
Hello, Jackie. How are you doing today?
I am wonderful and I'm glad to see you as always.
I'm glad to see you too. I'm so glad to have you here. It's like
Thank
perfect.
you.
I want to go back to what I said about the light because I'm not sure. I'm sure you've probably heard it before, but I'm not sure you realize how bright it shines, even when you're quiet. Isn't that's a light, isn't it?
That's a good thing.
But that's what happens when you have that on the inside and
It does.
it just glows. And I'm so glad you're here. Perfect, perfect, perfect timing for you. I want to ask you about the tagline. I want to talk about how you empower women. And I'm just going to let you talk now. If I need to, ask questions, I will. But I just want you to talk. Tell us who you are. Tell us about the
So,
tag.
thank you, Dr. Obie, and I appreciate you having me on your platform. And it's so good that other people can see your light. And that's what it's all about, making sure that I don't see it, but others see it.
Mhm.
And this journey of mine that we call life has made my light shine brighter and brighter. And it made me go down this journey of God assigned me to go down this journey of empowering women. I am the youngest of three children. So I am the baby. So by the time I came along, everyone was out of the house. So I spent most of my time with adults. So a lot of my conversation and people say, oh, you have so much wisdom. It's because I was listening to other people, but also the people around me, my parents, my mother and my father, they both encouraged me to make sure that I followed what God put inside of me.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I think sometimes we lose ourselves by being a mother, a father, a teacher, a student, a parent, a sister, especially women. We do all things for all people and we become superwoman to everyone else and we lose ourselves. And
Mhm.
so, in this journey, like I said, called life, God instilled in me a long time ago to empower people. And I didn't understand it for a long, long time. And I would find myself tired, burnt out. Like, God, why are you sending all these people to me? And his answer was, everyone is not your assignment. And once I realized that everyone was not my assignment and to key on my assignment, it allowed me to embrace who I was fully and empower those that he will send to me. Like you said, our relationship has gone over years now, and it was a professional relationship.
Mhm.
And ironically, that's how most of my relationships with these women that I end up empowering start from is a professional relationship. And
Mhm.
it ends because I always tell people, God has me in certain places and positions for a season and for a reason. And you
Mhm.
just may be that reason in that season. So I
Mhm.
never lose contact. I've known people and people still contact me 20 years later that I've met 20 years ago. I've even had a girlfriend that we were, friends in high school, lost contact, but we picked up right where God needed us to pick up on. And I think for me, not that I didn't have anybody to encourage me or to empower me, but I
Mhm.
wanted to be a safe place for people to be empowered. Knowing that if you tell me something in secret and confidence, it stays between me, you, and God. And
Right.
my job is to make sure I pray you through, not just leave you there, not just being nosy, girl, what you going through? What happened?
Mhm.
Is to make sure I see you through the end and to make sure you see in you what God sees in you. So
Absolutely.
I am my job. I love empowering women. And I have some men that I empower as well, but my gifting is empowering women because we are the fruit. We are the foundation of the family. We are the foundation of everything. So if you have a
Mhm.
good woman behind you, you can do wonders. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
again, I
And God gave women the the purpose to bear
yeah,
children.
yes.
And
And
I
it's
think
not always fruit, and it's not always biological
it's
children.
not
I
always
have
biological children.
4 biological children, but as far as people that I impact in children, I have many. And a long time ago, it was may have been, I don't even think I even had physical children at the time. This prophet told me, you'll be mother of many. And I'm
Mhm.
like, no, I'm not. And and now that I look back and that word has come into fruition, I see, okay, God, I see what you tried to tell me. I see what you showed me and what you instilled in me to make sure that I deposit what you've had into people. So I love
Mhm.
what I do.
Mhm.
Um, I love having women when they don't think they're worthy, they don't think they have it in them. They don't think that they can make it through another day. And I mean, from all aspects of life, all nationalities, all races, all colors, all creeds, because we're still children of God. No matter where we start, where we begin, we're still children of God. I have people who are of all different religions come to me. We still serve the same God. You may call him different, but he's still our God. And he still empowers me to make sure that I can empower you. So
Mhm.
I enjoy what I do. I love what I do. And I tell people all the time, March is, yes, it's Women's Month, but that's not just one month. It's
True.
12 months that you need to make sure that you have someone empowering you to make sure you're feeding your purpose correctly.
Absolutely. I told you all. Didn't I tell you? Look at her light and listen to the voice. I love it when I walk into the presence of someone who is genuinely a real person. You know what I mean? And they know who they are. They know who God created them to be, and they just do their thing. And you just glide. You strut and you glide, and you're comfortable with the woman that God's created. I want to know a little bit more detail about exactly how you empower women. But before you go there, you remember me? He said to you, not everyone. I want everybody to hear this. I even write it. Not everyone is your assignment.
Not everyone is your assignment. And we worry that we get bogged down, we get tired, we get frustrated, and we lose focus because we try to be Home Depot. We try to fix everybody, but everybody is not your assignment. And once God deposited that into me, that not everyone is your assignment, it freed me. It freed me so I could worry about my assignment and realize, okay, Sally may not be my assignment, but Paula is. Joan may not be my assignment, but Pamela is. And I'm okay with that. So when you know who you are and you know who your assignment is, you can walk boldly in it. And of course, you question yourself time to time, because I used to do it all the time. Like, God, why not me? You're elevating this person. This person is famous. This one is here. But then when you get that on the inside of you, that not everybody is your purpose, and He will send the right people to you, everything will open up for you. And it makes it easier because your burden is light and your yoke is easy because you're only worrying about your assignment.
And you can send them to the person who, to whom God has chosen for them.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
trusting Him to send you the right ones, and then trusting that there's someone else is nothing to be sad about. It's something to be
No.
happy about, because He is positioning everybody to do what He has created them to do. I'm okay with all of that. But I
Yes.
think you just released a few people. We are going to talk about, my sister's keeper. But I think that you have just released some folks,
Mhm.
because many, many, many times, because of the nurturing qualities that we have, we think a piece of us belongs to everybody until we look down and
Yes.
we're missing toes and feet and legs and fingers and parts of our heart and our mind, because we forget and
Mhm.
don't realize, you know,
Mm-mm.
that person,
Everyone is not our assignment.
everyone's on assignment.
And we're depleted and we're putting our energy into the wrong places and the wrong people because that's not our assignment. And you find yourself being frustrated and you're in a rut and you can't think, God, why is this not working? Or why am I so tired? Or why am I this? Because that's not your assignment. Because when you find your assignment and the true people for your assignment, there's freedom and there's liberty. And it's just the ease of movement that there is no struggle because you belong to me and I belong to you.
So Jackie has this look, you know. I remember she'd be like,
That has always been my problem, my face. If I don't say it, my face will.
and you know that she is saying something, but it's something always was always something good, but it was funny. I love the fact that God uses even our humor, our sense of humor, to get the message through and to understand. I just thought you were just, and still think so, that you were just so multi-talented, and you did your job so well. It took one of you to do your job. Unfortunately, it took like two or three to do the same thing. So I've always questioned the skill set. I'm like, why is it that she can do it and others can't? But look who you have inside of you.
Yes. It's the grace. And sometimes I think we envy other people and not realizing that that's the lane that God has them for. It may not be your lane. And I tell people all the time, when you are doing what God has you to do and you are in your lane, what you do make it looks easy to other people. And they can say, "Oh, I could do that," until they get out there. And I was like, "Wait a minute. Why am I having?" Because this is not your race. This is not your lane.
It's not your lane.
Mm-mm.
I promise we're going to get to the, my sister's keeper, but I have one more question for you. And because I
Sure.
think this is really important. When we're talking about empowerment, we are talking about focus. And many times we do things because we want to feel good about ourselves.
Mhm.
I'm not a psychologist. You're not a psychologist, but I do want to feel good about myself. There's some things I have to deal with on the inside first,
Yes.
so that I'm not bringing all this to me to try to stuff it in that place
I
and
have a saying.
pretend place.
Yes, I have a saying. Make sure you're healed before you open your mouth. Because what happens is when you're not healed from any situation, if you're not healed and you're talking about it, you then bleed on other people. And you put your lens of your hurt, your defeat, or whatever it is on others. And instead of you freeing them, you're making them in bondage. And so if you don't deal with that on the inside with yourself first, between you and God, because
Mhm.
I couldn't get to the point that I'm in because we all go through things.
Absolutely.
I had to deal with myself and God one on one to say, okay, God, this was not fun. This didn't feel good. But now, when I'm empowering people and I'm empowering women, and they bring those same scenarios back to me and they say, oh, I'm dealing with X, Y, and Z, I laugh a little bit. And sometimes they're like, why are you laughing? I'm crying. I said, no, because you know why? I was in your shoes and I cried and said, God, why me? And he said, okay, why not you?
Why not you?
So then when you come to me, when my assignments come to me, I have the expertise and I have the proof that I made it through to show you how to bring you through.
Hmm.
So you got to
Hmm.
deal with yourself first before you can deal
Well,
or be an assignment to anybody else.
and you deal with yourself first, and then you deal with yourself along the way. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yes.
sometimes you have to take a little break and then
Oh
recharge,
yeah.
especially those who are givers. That should be your middle name. Especially those who are givers. We just pour out. I mean, I don't know if I've met a person that's it. Maybe once or twice, but you are truly a natural giver.
I, and it's funny because you are absolutely correct. When you're used to giving and you're being a pourer, you have to set time to regroup
Yes.
because you deplete yourself so often and you give yourself to so many different people. You have to learn to give your time the okay. You're not falling off, you're not doing anything wrong, but you have to give yourself the okay to take a break, because if not, you will run yourself ragged. And I've done that. And the older I get comes wisdom.
Right.
And God will say, slow down and
Mhm.
trust and believe. If you do not do it on your own, he will sit you down for you. And he has done that plenty of times to me. He has sat me down
Mhm.
because I would not stop. Because again, when you are a giver and you are a pourer, you have to know when to stop. And that's just your natural instinct, just to give, pour until you are depleted. But he taught me along the way, you can't give anything out when you're empty. I need you to be filled so
Yes.
you can continue to pour.
There are times when Jackie needs to recharge. There are times when Paula needs to recharge.
Yes.
There are times when we all need to recharge. And a lot of people, or a lot of folks, I'm not going to make this gender specific, will say, how do I recharge? Well, there are ways. There's
Yes.
just some things you just have to not do.
Not. And people laugh about me all the time, especially my immediate family. My phone is on do not disturb 24/7. Not, but I need that time to recharge. And people know, if you need, matter of fact, I have one young lady, we worked together maybe 10 years ago. And she knows if she's in crisis, she calls me 2 times. It comes directly to my phone. I will stop what I'm doing. And if I can't, I will send her a text and say, are you okay? If she
Mhm.
says yes, I'll call you back when I'm finished. If she says no, this is my assignment that God has given me, I will stop and make time.
Right.
But you have to know your boundaries, you have to know your limitations, but that also comes when you have that one-on-one line with the Father. Because he'll
Yeah.
let you know.
Yes.
He'll let you know. It's all right, my child. It's time to relax.
Yeah.
It's time to recoup. It's
Yeah.
time to recharge. Because
Yes.
again, just like people who have these electric cars, if it's not plugged in, it's not charged, you're not driving anywhere.
True.
And because of my assignment and the people who are assigned to me, they cannot afford for me to be depleted. They
Right.
need me at my best.
And you need you at your best.
Yes, I
In
am
order
my
for you,
first assignment.
you I was waiting for you to say that because I was
I'm
going
my
to say
first assignment.
you're your first assignment. So you have to prepare to be at your best. I'm hoping people are going to be listening to this because
You are your first assignment.
many of us are trying to pour out and we don't have ourselves together.
No.
So let's get you right first. Let's
Mhm.
get you recharged, replenished, and then you're going to be available. Yes, God can give you strength, but if you take care of you, you'll have a bigger testimony. And
Yes.
I'm more
And he'll also
effective.
give you wisdom that you don't deplete yourself.
He really does. He really
He'll
does.
give you wisdom. And I tell people all the time, even when people speak or they minister or they're preaching the word, that word is for you first. Before you give it out, that
Absolutely.
word is for you first, for you to digest and then to give it. So
Yeah.
I am my first assignment. If I am not, even with my physical family, if I am not well, I can't take care of my household.
Can't take care of anything.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
And that's just the reality, women.
Yes, especially women. You have to make sure that you are well first, mind, body, and soul,
Mhm.
because you have people who are looking for you for direction. And sometimes people think, "Oh, my assignment, God is going to assign me tens of thousands of women." Your assignment is your household. That's your first assignment. It's your family. That's your
Yeah.
first assignment.
We could go on with this a couple more minutes, but I really want to talk about my sister's keeper. Um, Talk to me about what that is and what you do.
So my sister's keeper was birthed out of just watching. It initially started from watching women who were married to pastors or who are married to clergy or who are in that space of ministry. That, me as being a pastor's wife,
Mhm.
sometimes we do not have that outlet
True.
to express how we feel to lay members about anything, because again, people are looking us for guidance, they're looking us for leadership, so you can't afford to have an off day. So God had told me to start this my sister's keeper, and I said, God, how am I going to start something? I'm good on just an individual basis. And as God being who He is,
Hmm.
if you do it, the people will follow. Well, we've come up on our second anniversary, I believe December of 2023 made it our second year anniversary. And we just hit, we're almost at 8,000 members now.
7.9K. I'm looking at the membership right now.
Yes, 7.9. And I started with zero. And I am a true testament is that when God tells you to do something, you do it and He'll add the increase. So my
Amen.
Sister's Keeper started to empower, infect, cover, and impact clergy's wives, spouses, significant others. And it grew something more than that, because people would say, well, I not clergy's wives, but I need this. I need what you're saying. God allowed me to open it up. And it's just something that every morning I go on and I leave some type of inspirational post. I
Hmm.
have women who come on and they inbox me for prayer. They can do it anonymously, they can do it with their name. It's totally up to them as far as what their struggle is. And I am not the type of person who says, I'm going to pray for you and then don't pray.
Right, right.
I actually write down all the people who inbox me for prayer. I write it down. I have a journal and I write them down. And every day when I go before God, I bring that journal, because it is important for women to make sure that they're heard,
Yeah.
they're felt, and they're seen, because sometimes we get so lost in, again, being a mother, a sister, a daughter, everything else to other people, and we neglect who we are and we don't know how to navigate through those issues of life. And that's what God allowed me to do, to make sure that when you enter my sister's keeper, you leave empowered, you feel affected, you feel covered by our prayers, you feel impacted, that okay, I can go another moment, I can go another second, I can go another day. And each day, and I just don't throw anything on there. I am very tedious about what I post,
Hmm.
because I take my assignment very seriously.
Yes.
And I appreciate who God designed for me and designated to me. So I take it personal. So
Hmm.
I actually, I am tedious about, okay, God, what do you want me to say today? And I may have a thought of my own that I may schedule. And then the morning that it's supposed to post, I'm like, no, he's like, no, that's not what I want you to put. I need you to put this. And when I do that, someone will always come back and say, oh my God, I was dealing with that. Oh, I pray. I'm like, okay, God, I hear you. So part of being my sister's keeper is not my will, God, but your will. Because when
Absolutely.
I do your will, everything will line up. You will lead all those people who needs to be there. You know what I need to say, and you know what I don't need to say. You know
Correct.
who I need to cover, and you know what I don't. You know what I need to put my hands on and what I need to take my hands off. So,
See, I love the balance, and we need to be able
yes.
to say that because many times once we talk, we always give one side of it. Yes, I know
Mhm,
when to open my mouth and I know when to close
mhm.
it.
And that comes with wisdom. And again, earlier in my journey with Christ, and just being a pastor's wife, and just being a mother, being a daughter, being a sister, my mouth, not saying that what I said wasn't correct, it was the way that it will come out. And one day
Hmm.
I had a conversation with my mother, and I said, yeah, I told somebody X, Y, and Z. And she said, mm-hmm. And I said, but that's what the Lord told me to tell her. And she said, mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, what? And she said, everything that you said was correct, but your tongue doesn't always need to be a sword. And I sat there and I'm like, okay, God, sometimes our tongue, it's not what we say, because what we say could be fine, but it's our delivery that makes it harsh. And it makes it, but don't get me wrong, there are some people that when we have our one-on-one conversations who are assigned to me, sometimes we got to get in the nitty-gritty. Like, okay, we're
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
take off the makeup, we're gonna be
right,
raw.
right.
But there's sometimes God will tell me they're not at that place yet. So you can't deal with them that way. You got to put on a little, you got to put some extra love on there. I'm like, okay. But again, that comes with wisdom and actually having that relationship with God to know who needs the tough love and who needs okay, they need that mother because they didn't have that. So if you say it this way, they're
Absolutely.
not going to receive it in love. They're going to receive it out of a rebuke or harsh. So that comes along with it too. But again, that comes along with knowing your assignments.
Knowing your assignment.
Mhm.
And in this particular case, knowing how to pray and ask God what to do. That Ecclesiastes 3:1, as you were talking, I was thinking about there's a time and a place for everything. And
Jesus.
and the whole idea is to build up
Mhm.
folks. But
Yes.
there are times when you do have to look them in their eyeballs and say, what I'm getting ready to say, it may not feel good. It may
Mhm.
not sound good. And I love you and I care about you. However,
Mhm.
and I think that does definitely comes with wisdom as long as they know that you care.
That's the key. Love is the foundation of everything. When you have a relationship with people and they actually know that you love them in and out of season, they will receive it. They
Yes,
will receive it
they will.
because they know whatever I say is coming from a place of love and a place to get them to grow to what God has them to be. But love is the foundation of everything. Everything that we
Yes.
do, we should lead with love.
I'm going to drop my eyes for just a second, but I'm going to pick them back up because what I want to say is this: there are many people who have not figured out that they can talk to people in love.
Mhm.
And I said this a couple of weeks ago, and then they want don't invite me to their church,
Mhm.
and I'm looking at you going, that does not sound like Jesus.
Mm-mm.
No, you're not a good representative of who he is.
No.
Maybe you're having a bad day, and I'll give it to you. Sometimes
Mhm.
we have days, but there are some people who look at a delivery for Christ and as being something that has to be a reprimand
Mhm. Mhm.
and harsh. And
I
they
posted
haven't read the
something.
scripture about the loving kindness have I drawn, to me. But
Yes,
I just feel like that people just need to be taught that everything is not a reprimand.
everything is not a reprimand, and it's always the fruit. What does your fruit show? I have come across a lot of people, And I shared this to you before, that when I get into settings, or when I'm new to a situation or area, I never tell people who I am, because I'm a firm believer your fruit should bear witness for who you are. And then when I tell people, oh, my husband's a pastor, or X, Y, and Z, they freeze, or they clamp up, or they close in. No, I've had conversation with people, and 3, 4 months, or sometimes even over a year, I said nothing, just my loving kindness. That's what I showed. And then we would have a conversation, and they would say, well, you didn't tell me, because I wasn't supposed to, because you have an idea of what you think God is. You have a form of godliness in your mind. I want you to get to know God by his love, because there are people out there who love God, who show you by their love.
By their love.
And
Well,
not,
that's what the definition of disciples is. You will know me by the love. So
yes.
before I get like rolling on this next question, because I know it's coming, how can we get in contact with you? I know we had my sister's keeper on up a few minutes ago, but how would you like for us to get in contact with you? I know that there are women, especially this month, who need to be encouraged and empowered. It's the best way.
So my sister keeper, that's one way. The other way you can reach me is by email.
Okay.
And like I said, if people email me, it's on the screen, ladyjlb1@gmail.com. If you have prayer requests, if you have questions, anything, I am there for you. I am a big believer of prayer, because we need to have that connection with the Father, and to
Yes.
hear clear and concise, and just to make it in this thing that we call life.
Mm-hmm.
We need to have that connection.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you just need somebody to pray with you, you know what? And sometimes people, they don't always go into deep scenarios of what they're going through. Majority of the time they do. And one lady said to me, when I talk to you, you give me diarrhea at the mouth. And I'm like, no, that's just what you needed to do. And that's okay. And I've learned how to be a vault for people, because people need to know there's someone listening. There's someone there. It may not be always your mother, your sister, or anyone
Right.
that you know personally, because a lot of people don't want to feel judged. If I tell them I'm going through this, they're going to look at me differently. I've had people contact me that I've never laid eyes on, don't even know. I had people from all walks of life, all countries, reach out to me. Sometimes they're even in different languages, and I have to get on Google Translate to understand what
Right.
they're
Right.
saying
Right.
in
Right.
their posts. But again, I understand my assignment. I understand that I'm here to empower, and I am not a selective person. I can't say who, yes, no. Now, again, God will let me know, and I may pray for you, and that may be the end of our journey, because you may not be my full assignment, like I said before.
Right.
But my assignment still is to pray for you, and then you're gonna keep moving. But yeah, they can reach me on, like I said, through the Facebook. They can also reach me on email. I am there. Um, I am there. And that's what God has me to be, there.
Right.
Um, there are a lot of people, unfortunately, in this world who don't have foundation, who never had a family or a true sense of family, or may have dysfunction and don't have those type of people. And I am gracious, and I have a just an over amount of gratitude that my foundation was stable.
Mm-hmm.
I had a
Mm-hmm.
loving mother and a father. I am a daddy's girl. Anybody who knows me knows that. So I had that foundation. So I say this all the time to people: when you have been loved correctly, you see things differently than people who have.
Can you
And I think
will you just repeat that one more time and just slow it down? When go ahead.
when you have been loved correctly, you see things different from people who have not. You just do, because you have that lens of love that everyone unfortunately does not have that.
Yeah.
We don't have that. And I'm gracious enough that my children are actually in the same process as well. That because they have that love, they're the same way. They see things and they see people, and they bring people home that people have abandoned, or mom or dad, they don't have this relationship with their mom, they don't have that relationship with their dad, and they bring them home. They bring them home, and but I am gracious and I am blessed that my children and our children trust us enough to bring those people home, to know that we can pour something into them and deposit something in them that they're missing,
Right.
and that they appreciate it. Because sometimes we think that what we do for our children and our family goes unnoticed. But that's the biggest testament of who you are as a parent, who you are as a mother, as a father, is when your children bring people to say, Mom, can you talk to them? Dad, can you talk to them? Can you encourage them? Can you pray for them? And then not only that, but teach them how to do it and make disciples of their own.
And share with them.
My
I love
son
it.
is 15 years old, and I get calls from his teachers and say, I just wanted to let you know, this boy came to school today and he was upset, and Kendall took him to the side and he prayed for them, or he encouraged them. And I said, okay, my job is done.
Your job is done. Well, you've definitely set the foundation,
Yes.
and you stood on that foundation. And I love to hear that. That's what's really important. You're walking and you're calling.
Mhm.
And there are times when we just need to see and be around someone who's walking in their calling, especially a woman of God.
Yes. And your calling may not look like everybody else's calling.
No, it's not
And you
supposed
may
to.
not have 5,000 people. You may not have 1,000 people. You may not have 7,000. God may have signed you 5 people, one person, but he deposited something in you to empower somebody else with.
I
So
just love it.
everyone is important in this journey.
I just love it. I know we're easing to that mark, and I'm not going to get a conversation about that in a minute. But what's really really important on the show. I was just thinking about those people who have not.
Mhm.
They don't have. And if there is a gaping hole, and I said that earlier, and just to have someone just pour into them. Now you got a whole family.
Mhm.
You even have a son who's able to pour it. That is just like God to
It
connect
is.
you with someone. I have no idea what brought you to our professional, I can say it gently.
And you know what? That was
Empowerment.
God as well.
I was going to say, but I said it gingerly, tongue in cheek. I know
Yes.
exactly how you ended up there. It's funny. Yeah, I'm
That
like,
was God as well. And like I say, I always, even with any employment that I did, I've always said, God, order my steps. So if you have me here, you have me here for a reason and a
mm-hmm,
season. And when that season is up, it's up. But it's also people that's coming along with me that are here to stay.
mm-hmm,
And then when my
mm-hmm.
time was up, I moved on to the next assignment. So I look at everything in life as an assignment, no matter what it is.
That's a good way to look at it. That's what.
Because you won't
That's
get attached to it.
yeah. That's an. But you always then are preparing for the next assignment,
You can't
and
prepare
you're
it.
not afraid of it. Because
No.
there's going to be a next assignment. Now you get me excited. There's going to be a next assignment. So when it comes, you're like, I've been waiting on
You
you.
can freely walk into it.
I'm ready. How about that? How
And
about that?
and just even that, our last part, when you and I parted from that assignment, I struggled with telling my boss at the time that I wasn't looking. It's just, I'm like, wait a minute, God, what is this? And I tussled and I said, okay, God, is it time for me to move on? It's my assignment. He says, the way I do for you all the time, the door is open. So if it was open, it's your assignment. And I never forget, I rustled to tell him, and he walked down to my office and he closed the door. I sent him the email, my resignation, and he walked down the hallway and he closed the door and he sat in the chair, and he would come in my office all the time. And that's what people don't know either. God will put you in places. Sometimes your boss will be your assignment.
That's correct.
And he will come in there and he sat in there and he said, why didn't you tell me? And I said, I just didn't know, because he said, you deserve this. And I said, it was like God sent him to free me, because he knew I was struggling. Like, God, is my assignment finished? And he came in and he said, you deserve this. Go for it. Do you need me to do anything? Do you need me to say anything? And at that moment, I said, God, I thank you. You released me to my next assignment.
And as we are moving towards the end of the show, what I want to hear you say, a couple of words, we've got a couple of minutes. Tell someone how you I need to prepare for our next assignment because it's coming. We're going to have a next
Yeah.
assignment. It's on the way. What do we need to do? Prepare. Number one.
This life journey is all about assignments.
It,
And when you realize it's about assignments and not about you, it becomes easier. And it becomes easier when people move from out of your life for whatever reason. And sometimes we hold on to things, people, places too long that wasn't part of the assignment.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Everything, and you said it earlier, has an appointed time. When that time is up, it's on to the next. But if you're too busy holding with this hand, you can't get what's in the next hand. My grandmother had this saying that a closed fist, nothing can go in, nothing can come
Mm-hmm.
out.
Nothing can come out.
Learn how to embrace your next season. The first thing that you need to do is one, make sure that you have an open line between you and the Father.
Mm-hmm,
And if you
mm-hmm.
don't know how to pray, make sure you have someone in your life who can pray on your behalf until you get there.
Right, right.
Because you're going to have to do it on your own until you get there. Someone who can stand in the gap for you until you get there. But prepare. You always have to be in a preparation state to prepare of what's next.
Because that's the kind of God that we serve. A
That's
God who
always
is
been the
a
God that
what's
we
next.
serve.
He's a
That's
God
the
of
kind of
what's
God that we
next.
serve.
And he loves it. That's
He
his.
loves it because not only, and especially about this journey, when you understand it's about assignments, you understand it's not about you, but it's about him. So those
Absolutely.
doors would open because he's getting the glory. And that's part of my prayer every day. God, this is not about me. I don't want to get any glory, any shine. It's all about you. And when you have that mindset, you'll see doors open, assignments will close because again, you don't want people to come familiar with you. You want them to come familiar with the Father.
Absolutely. I think that's an excellent place to say what I'm getting ready to say. Ask what I'm getting ready to ask. I always ask my guests, will you come back?
You know I will, and
Will you come back?
I thank you for this opportunity. And I was like, okay, God, do I need to do this? Do I want to do this? Because again, I am very behind the scenes. I am not all out. So I thank you for letting me go to my next assignment and
Mm-hmm.
finding my next assignment. So I thank God for using you to place me on your heart. So I
He did.
thank you. And anytime you need me, you know I am only a phone call away.
Well, I'm going to be extending that because my sister's, keeper. We're going to need to do a little bit more have a little bit more conversation about that. When God moves, he moves. When he drops a name, that's when I pray about it. And I'm like, I'm going to text. I am grateful that you're here and that you've kicked everything off. I am certain that there's someone who's waiting very patiently for the next assignment. They thought the last one was the end. Now they're feeling a little bit better because they know another one's coming. God's
Another
preparing.
one's coming.
I don't want to keep talking. We can keep talking for the rest of the evening. We'll pick up with that later. Let me tell you what I say, Jackie. I always call you Jackie. You have to trust the process
Mm-hmm.
in order for the power of transformation to do
Yes,
its perfect work in your life. This is based upon Romans 12 and 2.
that's
We
it.
have to be transformed by the renewing of our.
Renewing of our mind.
So
Mhm.
once you agree, once I agree that the next is coming and it's
Next
going
is
to be
coming.
good, that's the transformation process.
That's
And
the transformation.
I'm going to have to cut it off. I don't want to, but we'll be back and she'll be back. And let me tell you something. You have been in tune to the Power of Transformation broadcast tonight. And I'm going to say it again. You need to trust the process. In order for God to do his
Mhm.
perfect work, trust the
In you.
process, everybody. We'll see you next week. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you.